agenda. So what will happen now is that legal will, together with the research team, will make reflections on changes that have taken place from the last time we met in relation to the report. If colleagues would remember, in December, we had attempted to adopt the preliminary report on our inquiry on Professor Mbati's appointment at SMU and his time at Univen and other related matters. However, considering the inputs that had been made from members, we had to test those legally. So legal had asked that we afford them the opportunity to engage with the various submissions that were made by members, but also there were members who had not had time to go through the report thoroughly, and thus had asked that they be given some time for them to make some reflections, and then therefore, if need be, make contributions or submissions to the report. And that is the basis on which we then moved the meeting or moved the adoption of the preliminary report to the following year, essentially to the new term. So that's, we then gather again colleagues when legal has engaged the contributions that were made by various members, and they will then be reporting back to us together with the research team on those particular submissions. This meeting shouldn't be long, colleagues, at all, because I think we have been engaging on this report for a while now. Perhaps also we must indicate our concern with the leakage of the preliminary report, as colleagues would have seen that there was mention to the report in newspaper articles, articles misquoting, in fact, the report. And so, we would have appreciated that members would have in themselves appreciated the fact that that was a preliminary report that had not yet been adopted and therefore should have remained with members. Nonetheless, we are not deterred, and we will continue to do the work that we are tasked to do. So I will then hand over to Fatima and the team from legal, as well as then our team from the research unit. Memudiba is on sick leave, so I trust that our research team will then be represented by Agnetha, and then reports to members. Members can make commentary, and then we'll go directly into adopting the preliminary report. I think we must make it very clear that this is a preliminary report, and because we are a fair committee, we will allow for affected parties to interact with the preliminary report and make their submissions to us as a committee where they believe the report may not be a true reflection of the engagement of the process, and then we'll interact with that. And so at this point in time, we are allowing for affected parties to interact with the report. And this is all in our commitment as a committee to ensuring that this process is fair. So I will then hand over to Fatima, and then followed by Agnetha. Thank you, Fatima.
Sorry, Chair, just before you do that, can I record the apologies of the honorable members from the TA, Honorable King, Honorable Makesi, as well as Dr. Letreat. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Anele. Apologies, I should have asked for apologies at the beginning of the meeting. Apologies for that. Fatima, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, as you indicated in the last meeting, members requested an opportunity to go through the report more thoroughly and then provide us with comments. Indeed, comments were received from several members, and the team worked together to go through those suggestions. And wherever the suggestions were legally sound, they were incorporated into the report. There was, in fact, nothing major that deviated in any way from the first draft report. In many cases, it was just a change in wording, things like putting in specific timeframes for the department in particular to get back to us on various issues, which we then built in. So as I indicated in the last meeting, Chair, it was our view at that time that the report was reasonable, it was well balanced, and we were satisfied with the process to date. That remains the case even as we've developed this second draft report. Our main concern, of course, at this point is that we do afford affected parties, as you said, an opportunity to have a look at the report and to engage with the report. And the purpose of that, Chair, is by no means to reopen the process. Rather, it's just to ensure that what we have captured in the report is correct, that we've understood witnesses correctly, that where we've indicated that there was perhaps not sufficient evidence to substantiate certain claims, that we haven't maybe missed evidence that was submitted and so on. So it really is to check for correctness, and legal will look quite closely at any comments received from affected parties once that happens. Chair, during the process of re-looking at the report and considering the comments that had come in, we also note that we had received what I'll refer to as whistleblower affidavits that spoke to the process of the appointment of Prof Mbati, and that made certain allegations in respect of that process. Our advice, Chair, was that this information has come in at a very late stage after we've already closed the hearing portion of the inquiry. And that was unfortunate because the process has been open to date. We've always welcomed any evidence at any appropriate time. So, you know, it was inexplicable as to why this evidence was only given really at the very tail end, once we had closed our oral hearings, and we had in fact already drafted the preliminary report. That being said, Chair, we did ensure that we build in a section in the report where we say that we will follow closely with SMU what the developments are in terms of that investigation. They have come out to make a public statement to say that they are going to investigate those allegations. So we have made it mandatory on them to now report back to us on those investigations, and we will obviously follow that very closely in terms of the oversight mandate of the committee. SMU will also be given a copy of the report, so if they have any further comments to make on that particular aspect, that can be done at that time. But the committee would not be in a position right now to test that evidence. And of course, without testing the evidence, we can't place any reliance on that. But as a whole, Chair, we're fairly happy with the report from a legal perspective and also with the process that has been followed to date. I'm sure Agnetha can give some more information on the content issues if members so require. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Fatima. Agnetha?
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members and colleagues. Are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
All right. I think the PowerPoint that I'm going to share now is sort of just reiterating what Fatima has reflected on in terms of where we are at with the report. The contents of the presentation will just allude to committee resolutions of the meeting dated the 10th of December, and then just an update on the response from the content research and legal team, as well as just reflecting on the new additions to the draft report, and as well as the new submission that we have received. On the 10th of December, committee resolutions of that meeting, where the committee convened to consider the first preliminary draft report in respect of the inquiry into the appointment process of Professor P. Mbati as the Vice-Chancellor of the Sefako Makgatho University and related matters. Both the content research and legal team presented their reflections on the process, as well as the draft report that was before the committee at the time. The committee then discussed the report, and the sentiments expressed were as follows. The ANC members supported the report, however, submitted additional input, which was then read to the committee. The EFF supported the report. The DA and the Freedom Front Plus noted that they needed more time to read and submit the inputs to the Secretariat of the committee. The committee then resolved to allow the parties that requested time to go through the draft report and submit the input within 7 working days from the date of the meeting that took place, the 10th of December. The committee also resolved to postpone the adoption of the draft report due to the request to submit additional inputs and for the need for the content and research and legal teams to consider and advise on the new submissions. To date, the Secretariat did not receive submissions from the DA and FFP. A response by the content and research and legal team on the submission of the other parties. The teams considered input by the ANC to assess whether they are legally sound and aligned with the objectives of the process. In addition, the team also checked interventions that were already in place by the Department of Higher Education and Training to address some of the proposed recommendations. There were few areas that the teams noted that there was no legal basis for such proposed recommendations to be made. The team found that some of the proposed recommendations were already addressed by the DIET in the policy framework on GBV. There were many areas where the teams agreed with the proposed recommendations. The response from the team was then referred to the ANC for its consideration. In terms of new additions to the draft report, the draft report incorporated the new additions made by members. We have highlighted the new additions to the report in yellow for ease of reference. We have provided all the numbers of the new additions as well to the members in the draft report as it is. In terms of a new submission received, after the committee concluded its evidence gathering and hearings, it received submissions from whistleblowers leveling serious allegations that Professor Mbati and certain officials of the SMU, who were also members of the interview panel for the VC position, colluded to secure Professor Mbati's appointment as the SMU VC. It is not clear why these submissions were not provided earlier, as the committee's processes have been open. The submission was received this January of 2022 when members were on constituency. The team then proposed that the committee should refer the matter to the SMU Council for further investigation, as the allegations only reached the committee when it had already concluded its hearings. The committee has also learned that the SMU Council is now in the process of investigating the allegations internally and will await the outcomes accordingly. The committee views these allegations in a very serious light and will follow developments closely. The team made proposals in the report for the committee's consideration thereof. In terms of the affected parties, after the adoption of the preliminary draft report, it will be sent to the affected parties for their comments. There will be time frames given to the affected persons to send their comments to the committee. The committee will consider the representations and amend accordingly, only if there is evidence to substantiate the contested area. A final report will be considered and adopted for tabling for the House consideration, so that recommendations can therefore be made to House resolutions. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ednita, and thank you very much to Fatima as well for those reflections. I'd like to now open up for members to engage. If there's any commentary from members. Honorable Litier. All right, I'll take Honorable Litier for now. You may go ahead.
Yes, Chair. Good morning to yourself. Good morning to honorable members. Good morning to the team, the legal team, and the committee team. Just the first one, I think it's a correction on the notes, on the report itself, the new report. I think if they can just go to 2.7, I think I'm not sure if that is the correct date there, 10 January this year. I think that is not the correct date. If they can just maybe clarify why are they saying they were met this year to adopt the report on 2.7 preliminary inquiry report. The committee considered and adopted the preliminary report on the 11th of January this year as per the terms of reference. I think there might be a mistake there, so let them please fix that part. I think for now, Chair, on the changes, that is one part that I would have noticed. I would have obviously wanted to go also to what is this one? I'm just trying to scroll quickly to my yeah, maybe for now, Chair, without mentioning that, let me give others whilst I want to locate my second and last point here on my notes. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Litier. Yes, indeed, I think that 2.7 is supposed to be 11th February, colleagues. And from what Honorable Litier has said, colleagues would like to continue to implore on yourselves to continue to, I know that Honorable Litier and many others may continuously go back to the report and engage on it, right? The preliminary report and engage on it. And so I'd like to implore on yourselves to continue doing that. And when you're finding challenges or concerns with even, grammatical issues, spelling, menial sort of matters like that do change how different people could read the document. This is still a working document because it is a preliminary report, and we genuinely implore yourselves to send those submissions to the committee staff. Honorable Prof. Honorable Prof. Okay, I think Honorable Boschof's device may be giving him challenges, considering that many members are probably in Acacia Park and the network in Acacia Park is really bad. So I'll then go to Honorable Makgatho. Honorable Webb.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. I think you're now audible, Honorable Boshoff. Sorry, Honorable Makgatho.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry. Apparently, I didn't tap to speak hard enough. Now, I have a very short response. I would like to say that I think this is a good example of parliamentary oversight function. If I look at the time consumed by this and by the detail in which it was conducted, it would not be possible to do this with every university and every institution where such problems may occur. And I think that that suddenness with which it was done and the detail in which a report was compiled should be assigned to any other people, institutions and persons, that the Parliamentary Committee on Higher Education takes its oversight role seriously, and that there are not dark corners to hide anything. The detail, I think, is such that one had to commit oneself for a few months actually to know what's going on in this thing. And with a political program, that's not always easy because there are so many different things claiming one's attention. But Dr. Arendse mentioned that we as a Freedom Front Plus asked for more time to investigate and to give feedback, which we did not because we did not find anything to improve or whatever. So being in politics, one is always a little bit suspicious whether one is actually dealing with some faction fighting within a party, and that makes one wanting to reserve your judgment a little bit. But as far as I could see with my whole investigation into the investigation, this is a sincere form of oversight and something that the committee and the staff especially who did a lot of work into this, and I want to name the previous chair, Mr. Philip Mapulani, for his dedication to this specific project. So thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Boshoff. Colleagues, Anele and Agnetha, if you could kindly go into the minutes of the previous meeting to make sure that our reflections on what Honorable Boshoff is referring to are accurate, because Honorable Boshoff is not necessarily agreeing with the presentation made by colleagues from the research unit. So if we could just look into that, please. That will be greatly appreciated. And indeed, Honorable Boshoff, I think, the previous chair, Honorable Mapulani, now DM, always emphasized the fact that what we are trying to do through this inquiry is to address challenges, systemic challenges that could cut across various institutions, in order for us not to see what could have possibly been shortcomings at the institution in addressing some of the related matters that were brought to our attention, to ensure that they don't continue to exist in other institutions across the sector. So yes, indeed, it's one institution that we've been working on, or rather two institutions we've been working on, which is Univen and Sefako Makgatho University. But this is not only to look into the issues in those particular institutions, but to the sector at large. And I think some of the recommendations that we have made in this preliminary report speak to that, speak to the fact that we are trying to address sectoral challenges. So I'll then like to note the hands of Honorable Mahlatsi, followed by Honorable Mananiso. Honorable Mahlatsi.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning to colleagues, staff members, and everybody on the platform. Chair, I would have reserved my comments after Honorable Boshoff, precisely because he had actually covered me to a large extent. But it is quite important that as members of the committee, where job well done is done, we give gratitude to the staff members. I must indicate that we need to give gratitude to the parliamentary staff, inclusive of the legal services, in as far as the report is concerned, their diligence in dealing with the matters, and the forward-backward movement that has happened in the relations to us being afforded ample time to go back to the report. We're given more than 2-3 months to really go deeper into the report. I must indicate, Chair, that the report in the manner is written in a profound way that each and every South African who has an opportunity to read this report would understand it. That it's, given that it has legal implications and so forth and so on, we really want to applaud the staff that it actually dealt with issues of ambiguity, where, there's no misinterpretation of facts and issues raised in the report. Thirdly, is the issue of the sectoral element that this report or this inquiry has given us an opportunity to look in other issues that are related to the legal or our own, legislation, by the way. It was able to look at loopholes, the gaps that are there in the legislation that we as a committee should actually consider in the future. So this particular process was quite beneficial to the department, to the committee itself, and to South Africans at large. And lastly, Slalo, one would want to really indicate that the manner in which legal services has dealt with this issue, it gives one comfort that there are no hidden agendas in as far as this process is concerned. Because from time to time, we took the matter back to them where there was misunderstandings, misinterpretation, and so forth. And we want to say at this point that we do appreciate the work that they have done as legal services, that where we had differences and we were able to engage them and say, here we agree, here we don't agree, and to a large extent found a common ground in as far as the process is concerned. With those few words, I really, really wish to appreciate the work that have been done and would ordinarily want to move for the adoption of the preliminary report, but will await that time when you as per your directives. Thank you very much, Slalo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Whip Mahlatsi. Now I'd like to move on to Honorable Mananiso.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to all the members on the platform. I would like to start by actually welcoming the report and as well acknowledge and appreciate the work done by our supporting staff and legal team. Chairperson, my first question would be on the issue of the inputs that you were awaiting from FF Plus and GA, to say at least from what Honorable Prof could have said about acknowledging the fact that we received the report, we went through the documents and so on, but I just want to check what could be the standing point of these two parties not participating in this process of accepting the report, yet we have given them an opportunity as well to. Yes.
Sorry, Honorable Mananiso. I'm not sure. I missed a part, and I think maybe other colleagues could have also missed a part, because I think, your mic, I don't know if it's too close or too far, but there's a challenge with the mic.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, I think that's a bit better.
Oh, all right. This issue of connectivity in Akashi. I'm asking what could be the implication of EFF, actually FF Plus and GA not making their inputs as we could have recommended previously and given them time frame. And secondly, Chairperson, I think we must acknowledge the fact that the work that has been done is about redressing as well in this particular institution. And on the documents, this one that we have just received, I didn't see anything that actually indicates that we requested the council to actually apologize to Ms. Pendler. So I just want to check why is it omitted? Perhaps maybe I've overlooked it. And I believe that that one we still need it to show that we actually want to redress and make sure that nobody becomes a victim in this process. Lastly, Chairperson, I'm covered by members to say the nice thing about this particular oversight, it is actually to strengthen governance and management in our institutions. Moreover, in terms of implementation of sexual harassment policies, because we have learned through this process that those policies are there, but there were gaps. And with this process, we are able to actually strengthen that we don't see this particular incident happening as repetition in our institution. So it's job well done. And for us as the portfolio committee, at least it really shows that we are the committee of everybody, and we see everyone as equals in the spaces. So we just need to soldier on and make sure that moving forward in these institutions, chairperson, we don't leave any stone unturned, more especially for those who cannot comply in terms of implementing our policy. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mananiso. I'd then like to hand back to colleagues from legal and the research unit as well. I tried to put together the remarks from Honorable Mananiso. I hope colleagues managed. I think the one was about submissions, the impact of submissions not made as requested. The other one was about an apology to Prof Pendler by council. The last one was just, I think, reiterating the importance of the work that we've done. Honorable Itzia, you had asked to allow members to engage and then return at a later stage. Would you still like to say something?
Good morning again, Chair. I think I'm very happy with the additional info on the report 4.30 to be exact, 4.30 point something there. I'm very happy with that. From 4.30.1, 4.30.2, and 4.30.3, Chair. I think that is what we had made. That is what additions would have made, and I'm extremely happy with that inclusion, Chair. And if there are no objections, I will therefore like to move for the adoption of the amended first draft preliminary report. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Honorable. You and the whip are ahead of us, but it's good to see that there's support from colleagues on this matter. I'd just like to also I'm just looking through, as Honorable Itzio was referring to 4.30.3. I think on page 83, I think colleagues there, we then say 4.30.1 again. I think we meant to say 4.30.4. You see, those are the small areas that we're going to continue having to look out for, so that's why we call it a preliminary report, a working document, because I think it's been quite a huge task that the committee, together with the committee staff, have embarked on, and I think we then need to collectively assist one another in sharpening the work that we have done through this report. I'd like to then hand back to colleagues from legal and from research. Fatima?
Thank you, Chair. The sound wasn't very good, but if I understood the question correctly, the concern was that there were certain parties that have not inputted into the report or commented. Am I correct in my understanding that is the concern?
Yeah, so basically the fact that after, if I'm also rehashing what Honorable Mananiso said, because the sound was a bit poor. So I think what I believe to have heard is that if, considering the fact that there were colleagues who had requested to be given time to read the document and then possibly make submissions, is there any impact on the process, I guess, of the work that we've been doing? With the fact that they did not make additional submissions.
Chair, so the short answer is no. This process is no different to any other work that any committee undertakes. So similar to if a committee was processing legislation, you may find that certain parties are more active than others, that certain people on the committee would have more comments than other people have. What matters is that a fair opportunity was given. So I don't think that there's any concern. And of course, the most important thing is that at the time that the final report is adopted, every party has the right to either agree to the adoption or to reject the report. And that, of course, will be reflected at the time. So I'm not too concerned about that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatima. And then the other question was with regards to Honorable Manisa just asking for clarity on whether or not the apology, I think there was a submission for an apology to be made to Prof. Pendler by council. If you can just confirm if that, she was asking if that's still present, and perhaps possibly if she's not seen it through her readings. I don't know if you can respond to that. If not, maybe Agnetha.
Chairperson, to the best of my recollection, it is in the report, but Agnetha can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it is in there, Chair, that they must apologize. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatima. Agnetha?
Chair, I'm just going to double check quickly where it was captured and then I'll revert soonest.
Chair, the point raised by Honorable Mananiso, it is still in the report. I can confirm. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Anele, for that. Colleagues, Agnetha, any other responses from your side?
I'm covered by Fatima, Chair, and just to note that the apology reflects on page 97 of the report, just for ease of reference for members. But I'm covered by Fatima with regards to the implications of inputs from the various from members, and yeah, so I think we covered there.
Okay, and then I guess between yourself, Dr. Adansa and Anele, if colleagues could just double check then from the minutes and refer in writing back to Honorable Boshoff if there's a need for us to apologize there. So colleagues, thank you so much for all your inputs and the responses as well from legal responses from the research unit. We truly appreciate the support that you've given to the committee for it to be able to do its robust oversight in ensuring that we aid the sector to achieve its core mandate. We were very clear that in this process, we are not embarking on any particular witch hunt. Ours is to strengthen the sector by ridding it of any ills that currently absolve it. So that is what we're trying to work on here. And we are committed to ensuring that the process is fair. And that is why we are allowing for witnesses and various affected parties to engage with the work that we've done thus far. And so we also implore on colleagues to continue to make submissions. It is a working document up until we adopt the final report. At this stage, we are working on the preliminary report. And I think many members from Honorable Boshoff to Honorable Mahlatsi, Honorable Mananiso, they all reiterated sentiments around the importance of the work that we're trying to do here and how it will strengthen the institutions affected, but also the sector at large in ensuring that we can achieve the core mandate of higher education and training. Colleagues, having said that, I would then ask that we officially note any hands that seek to adopt this report. Honorable Litsie.
Without fear of contradiction, also I would like to thank the legal team and the committee staff for putting together such a heavy such a heavy document that reads so easy. I would like Chairperson to therefore move for the adoption or propose that we adopt the edited draft preliminary report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Litsie. Honorable Litsie moves for the adoption of the preliminary report. Honorable Makgatho.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me second the adoption of the report. Ke a leboga.
Honorable Makgatho supports the adoption of the preliminary report on the inquiry on Professor Mbati's appointment at SMU and related matters. Colleagues, the preliminary report on this particular inquiry has therefore been adopted and will be circulated to affected parties for their commentary and engagement. And then, various processes may follow coming out thereof. And we would appreciate the very same support we've received from members and from colleagues as we move towards the finalization of this report, which in itself is another process that might take some time. But I think what we are all committed to is, without rushing this process at all, is ensuring that we can get to a point where we can start to move on the recommendations that have come out of this report so that we can remedy the challenges that our sector is faced with. I think from what the President said in the SONA yesterday, what really comes out strong is that we need to get to a point where we just do the work and we leave no one behind as we're doing the work that needs to be done by government. And our role as members of parliament becomes very important in ensuring that the plans that are set out by our government are implemented, and that we do through the robust oversight that has really been exuded through the work we've been doing in this inquiry. So having said that, I'd like to then, I think, close this meeting. I see Honorable Litsie's hand has gone up. Honorable Litsie.
Chair, my hand was up, but I realized you are not seeing it. So I had to lower it and raise it again. And I apologize because I was actually hoping that you are not summarizing, because we have not concluded on a time period we are going to give to all affected parties to make their own comments on the report before we can adopt it and make it a final report. So I am therefore proposing that we give them maybe 21 working days for comments or some disputes if they have, so that after 21 working days, we just finalize the report and move from preliminary to final. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Litsie. That definitely is an omission on my side to not have set out those timeframes, and I truly apologize to colleagues, and thank you very much for that. Indeed, we've been guided by legal to be fair in allowing affected parties 3 weeks, but maybe to be specific, I think the 21 days is very clear for them to interact with the document. And yeah, so yes, colleagues will be given 3 weeks, 21 working days to interact with the document. Thank you very much, Honorable Litsie, for that. Colleagues, having said all of that, then I'm not going to repeat whatever I would have said in closing. So this meeting has come to an end. Thank you. Do enjoy your Friday and do rest and reflect critically on what the President said to us yesterday and how we locate ourselves as members of parliament, how we locate ourselves as members of the staff, how we locate ourselves as citizens in what the President would have said to us yesterday. Honorable Litsie and Honorable Mananisa's hands have both gone up. I'm not sure if there's something wrong. Honorable Litsie.
No, I think it's not your strong day today, Chair. We have minutes that we're supposed to adopt.
Oh no, it's definitely not my strong day. I'm so sorry. I was so taken away by the president's speech yesterday evening that, you know, I
We
think
can move the minutes to next week, Chair.
I think let's move them to next week, colleagues, if that's fine with yourselves.
It's fine with me.
All right. Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you very much, Honorable Manani. So I'd like to believe that you are with Honorable Lidzie, so the hand would have been the same issue, but let me just check with you.
Oh, that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Mananis. Colleagues, having said that, I hope we are all okay with us moving the minutes to next week. We do note that there have been, there's a request with regards to next week's program. We'll respond accordingly, colleagues, via email to those requests. Thank you so much. Do enjoy your Friday.
Thank you very much, Chair. The shortest meeting I've ever attended.
Recording stopped.
Bye.
The meeting is ended. Has come to an end. Nele was telling me last week that I must say that, you know, the meeting is adjourned so that they can close the meeting officially. So they have said it, Anele. Thanks, Whip.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
The